Welcome to Arclight's Asylum. I'm your host, Zach, and we have another episode of Real-Time Painting for you tonight. Quick shout out to the channel sponsor, A3AL Amazing Games. Derek's been helping support my endeavors for a few years now, continues to do so. Go and check out his web store for anything and everything Battletech. He's also got a ton of other miniature games and, I don't know, card games, dice, hobby supplies, all kinds of stuff. I am Canadian, but if I'm ordering anything Battletech related from the States, he's kind of my number one go-to. He's got everything. He's got Iron Wind Metal stuff as well as Catalyst Game Lab stuff, so I like it. I like his web store quite a bit. Go check it out. A3ALMiniesandGames.com. Tonight, as ever, cracking on with the NovaCat Alpha Galaxy Mechs. Gonna do some more spicy flashlights this stream. I'm gonna do some small lasers because there's a lot of small lasers across these mechs to do. And then once we do the small lasers, canopies. We're gonna do all of the cockpit canopies. We're gonna do two-tone. I think I know what colors I'm gonna do. Not 100% set on it yet, but we'll get there when we get there. Dewdrops, what's going on? Happy to have you back. Quick reminder to everyone to pop over to the Discord if you have not already. Go to the Real-Time Painting channel. I'd like to invite you all to post your work in progress shots, photos of finished minis, any other hobby and art related things. If it's graphic art design, stuff like that, pottery, I don't care. Drop your photos in there. We'll take a look in the very end segment of the show tonight. We'll be going for at least 2 or 3 hours. Definitely going until like at least 11, maybe even midnight. We'll see. See how much energy I have. I do have a cup of coffee going at the moment. Yeah, we'll see. Definitely the worst idea ever for trying to have a good night's sleep, having caffeine this late, but been a long week, been a long day. So good day, but long day, busy day. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and drop the Discord link in the chat. It's gonna be in the description on YouTube as well. Let's get that link. Copied. And kaboom. Discord. Head on over. All right, without further ado, let's hop over to the painting desk and we will get started painting. Alrighty, jazz hands. So, I am an absolute scrub, and I forget if the Timberwolf has a medium or small laser in its side torso. And I'm talking about the Timberwolf Prime. I'm pretty sure it's a small laser. But, torso, machine gun, medium pulse laser. Okay, so it is a medium laser type. All right, so I'm gonna have to go back into, actually, you know what? I'm just gonna do the medium with red. I don't even care. So I'm gonna do all my small laser types in red, and I need to do a medium pulse laser in that side torso piece there. I'm just gonna do it in red, or you know what? Maybe I'll do it in like magenta. Who knows? I don't know. I'm gonna leave that one for now. But we've got small lasers to do on not this guy. Pretty sure the Vapor Eagle, I gotta double check. And then tons on the Piranha. Yeah. So we're gonna double check on the Vapor Eagle here. Did not have time to do this before starting the stream, unfortunately. Down to the wire here. I am not seeing. No. It just has machine guns and medium pulse lasers and a large pulse lasers, or one large pulse laser. Okay, so that's machine gun. Alrighty, literally just the Piranha for small lasers. It's gonna be good. And then we'll go back to that Timberwolf. I might just paint the medium laser in green just to keep it consistent, because I think that'll bother me if I don't do that, but that's okay. Anyways, what we are starting with tonight is Chaotic Red. I'm gonna rock my size 1 brush from Ammo by Mig. It's a Marta Kolinsky brush, pretty good quality. Now I'm just going to layer in a little bit of Chaotic Red. Go ahead and zoom in here. This is going to be the base coat. Just going to adjust my task lamp a little bit here so I've got my lighting's a little bit better. Right. Literally just filling the whole muzzle. This Chaotic Red is just like a kind of your standard crimson red. So if you don't have Chaotic Red, essentially any crimson red will do. So do not fret. This Chaotic Red from Army Painter is a very old paint. It's kind of like thick right out of the bottle, so got to add a decent amount of water to it. I already had this preloaded on my palette. I was kind of doing that in the last 2 minutes before I actually started the stream. Just trying to get a head start. Now I gotta double check what's in the center torso on this Piranha. I swear it's a small laser type as well. Oh, this is, yeah, okay, so it's literally, I'm doing this all wrong here. Hilarious. You folks just watch it here on the stream, live on the stream. So I gotta go ahead and make these all black, because these are actually machine gun barrels. Funny enough. These are very big machine gun barrels, by the way. And like, I mean, these are pretty big medium lasers as well, so. Hilarious. I mean, at least we just did the one color and we checked out and didn't make all of these small lasers. That would have been super awkward. Not that being entirely canon is completely important, because a Piranha, I mean, during the clan invasion, a Piranha probably would not have been in Alpha Galaxy, because generally speaking, I mean, there's some leeway on this, even during the clan invasion, but generally speaking, the frontline galaxies for any clan 2-man, usually, I mean, they have like the most access to Omnitech compared to pretty much any other units within that clan. So generally speaking, they wouldn't really have clan battle mechs. They would have predominantly clan omnimechs and elementals. So it just wouldn't be common to see a Piranha in Alpha Galaxy of Clan Novacat. But Clan Novacat also wasn't exactly like a top tier clan at the time. You know, it was stuck in reserve, so who knows, you know. I'm just gonna go ahead and say that they probably had some, you know, backup clan battle mechs just sitting in their inventory, so That's why I justified this guy. Anywho, let's go ahead and paint the center laser muzzle here. I'm going to paint this in black first. Let that dry quickly. I'm going to grab my chaotic red in the meantime. Go ahead and blow on that just to kind of get it to dry the rest of the way. Add the chaotic red in. It is actually kind of reactivating that black a little bit, so I'm just going to let that sit for a second. Have a sip of my coffee. Ryan throws me out the same way. It looks like a PPC or a large laser on that right arm, but it's just a medium one. Yeah, it's super big. Don't believe I've seen you in chat before there, Nighthawks. Is that your first time? Is it your first time? Giggity. Zoom out slightly here. In the meantime, while that crimson, that chaotic red is drying, I'm going to go ahead and start applying a little bit of green to my palette. So I'm going to add that into that medium pulse laser on the left torso of the Timberwolf. I'm just going to go ahead and drop my green right there. So I'm just doing green skin from Army Painter. This is one of their newer paints. Like, you can just kind of tell by the label. It's from one of their newer batches. Then I have Goblin Green Air. So this is very thin out of the bottle. Well, thin. It's thinner than, a little bit thinner than a standard paint, but it's not that thin. It's pretty much just thinned perfectly for like base coating. Snake scales. This is a bit of an older batch. This is like probably 4 years old, something like that. Maybe 5. I think I got this in early 2021, maybe late 2020. Had it ever since. Don't use a lot of it, so already. So I've got those 3 colors on the palette. I have 2 other inks that I need to add, but the chaotic red is dry here, so I'm going to go ahead and pick up. This is Dragon Red from Army Painter. I'm literally just going to fill the entire thing again. That chaotic red just acts as a good base for this. And that's it. Go ahead and zoom in just slightly. Yeah. I'm gonna let that dry. I'm gonna go ahead and add base layer of the green skin into this laser diode here. I will eventually need to paint in the missile pods on this as well. Still undecided. I think I might do caution stripes, or I might just do like a gradient. We'll see. Knock this down. Pick up the, yeah, okay. I'm gonna go ahead and grab some pure red. This is also an Army Painter color, and this is also very, very, very old. This pure red. I've had this since like 2015, something like that. Got it in a Army Painter mega set back in the day. About a decade ago, yeah. Crazy. Yeah, brand new to the channel and the hobby. Oh, nice. Okay. Have you ever dabbled in anything other than Battletech, or is Battletech kind of your intro to the tabletop wargaming and miniature hobby? Are you into Warhammer or Infinity or anything else like that? So that was just me adding the pure red. It's just like a really good punchy mid-tone red. I'll go ahead and grab the Timberwolf again. I'm going to grab the Goblin Green here and add that into the laser muzzle. I'm essentially just filling this again. Just a good coat. Go back to this. Well, this is still drying because this is still just a little bit wet, and I don't want to touch it because I don't want to create a dimple. What sometimes happens is if most of the paint around is dry, but the very center isn't quite dry, and you go to wipe in there, sometimes you'll end up stripping that paint out of the very middle, and you'll end up with like a permanent texture mark essentially, and it's not good. So I want to let that sit just a little bit. I'm gonna grab some Evil Sun's Scarlet. This is a Citadel color. I just moved it from from one of these pots into a dropper bottle. I like to keep the contrast paints in the big, like the open top pots. Just a personal preference, but when it comes to all my my layer and base coat paints and highlighting colors, I like to keep them in dropper bottles. It's quite the chunk that came out of the threads there. I'm just setting this off to the side. We go ahead and grab that Evil Sun Scarlet, and I'm not gonna quite fill this entire thing. Just gonna kind of fill like the middle 2/3. It's just a little bit brighter than that pure red, and I'm gonna let that sit. We're gonna go in with a white ink after this. Nighthawks 86. Battletech is my intro. Been a fan of the setting since MechWarrior 2. Oh, okay, nice. Yeah, that was my intro to Battletech as well. Was the video games in the early 90s. I'm 33. I was born in 92, but my dad had a PC from like 94 onward or something like that. So I literally grew up with it constantly. It was one of my first video games that I played. That along with Quake 2 and Doom on my PC. I'm like 4 years old playing those games. My mom hated it. Got into the tabletop setting about a month ago. It was something to do with my kid. Nice. Nice. Pedro Isaac, best viewers. What the hell? Bot account. Probably. Nice. Yeah, it's a good way to connect with your kid. Like my dad and I connected. Like my dad and I weren't super close. Not to get super deep into my personal life or anything. Treat this like a therapy session, I guess. But yeah, yeah, we weren't super close, but we definitely we connected on wargaming when I was a kid. It's honestly one of the reasons I still kind of do it today. It just kind of gave me like the creative bug, and I just really enjoy the setting of MechWarrior, BattleTech. I also enjoy like the Warhammer setting, stuff like that. Warhammer is definitely cool. Check it out if you haven't already. I don't know, like the miniature side of things is pretty crazy right now. It's crazy expensive. But I mean, the lore is super cool, and if you get into like some of the older miniatures and stuff, and if you buy some on eBay, that's always a good place to get them cheap. Definitely a good spot. I'm just going in with a dot of white here. This is essentially the same thing I've done for all of the other green lasers here. Just adding a good central white dot into that laser diode. I'm going to go ahead and grab. Because this is a different laser, it's a medium pulse laser. I'm just going to go straight to the fluorescent yellow here, rather than doing the green ink and then another white dot and then the other color. I'm just going to go straight to this. This is a fluorescent yellow ink. Punch up the volume on that. Just going to go ahead and shake that out. Go ahead and lower this. Boom. There we go. Nice and bright. It's like a light bright. I really enjoy fluorescents for that because they actually the reason why they appear so bright is because when light hits them, they actually glow. So, you know, they don't stay glowing after the light goes away, but it's really cool. Science. Oh yeah, I love the 40K lore, but not into the game side. Yeah, the gaming side is pretty brutal right now, and a lot of people are pretty disillusioned with the overall gaming experience of 40K right now, and I don't blame them. Honestly, like 2nd and 3rd edition Warhammer are probably the best to play. They're super easy. I think 3rd edition is the best because it keeps a lot of the simplicity of 2nd edition, but adds just a little bit more game elements to it, and then also adds more equipment, war gear, units. It's super cool. I really enjoy it. So I'm gonna go ahead and fill like probably about half this with white ink, just kind of that central half. I'll zoom in and show this just so you can see. So yeah, like I filled in the central 50% of, you know, the surface area of that red laser diode. I'm gonna go and grab some red, like fluorescent red ink, and I'm gonna layer this on. Local store has a rage quit aisle. If I branch off, might start there. Rage quit aisle, is it like secondhand miniature kits that people have like sold off to the stores? That's actually pretty cool if your local gaming store takes in stuff like that, or like buy kits. It's pretty slick. It's actually pretty deadly. Zoom in slightly here. So I'm not trying to flood this, but I'm basically just kind of tapping my brush to just add a little bit more for my brush, as well as wick some away. Just trying to find that balance. That's pretty good right there. Super quick and easy. Doesn't really need to be any more complicated than that. Dana R fluorescents are particularly fugitive. I have some golden UV varnish that I find keeps them punchier. How much fading from fluoros have you noticed on your older paint jobs? I don't really know, to be honest. I don't think any. I mean, I take them out occasionally and do little photo shoots when I get different photo stages and stuff. And I mean, the stuff that I have that's 2 to 3 years old, still pretty good to go. A lot of the stuff that I had that was older, I've sold off. Yeah. So I would say all the stuff that I have that's like 3 years old is still good to go. And that's kind of my oldest stuff. In terms of Battletech, like I have a lot of Warhammer stuff that's a lot older, but I guess I have a few Battletech miniatures that are older than that, but I don't have fluorescence on them. No. Nighthawks, exactly. Secondhand minis that people have sold to the store. Nice. Looks real good. Thanks. Appreciate that. Okay, so before we move on to the canopies, there's one thing I wanted to do. So this is one thing I brought up in a different stream, and so I have another horned owl that I have painted in Clan Nova Cat Sigma Galaxy. This is done in a tiger stripe camo scheme. Now, it's got its lasers painted almost exactly the same way, except it also has essentially like laser light radiating on the armor here. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is do that to this. I'm going to show you folks how to add like a laser line glow essentially on your miniature, kind of like object source lighting of sorts. So we'll do that right now. I'll back this out just so it's not so claustrophobic. So zoom in just slightly more here. I think that's probably about as close as I want to get. You know what? Maybe I'll back off just a little bit more, changing my my hand positioning, change things a little bit. Alrighty, so I'm gonna grab just a little bit of that green skin, so literally the base color, but I'm thinning this down quite heavily, so it's essentially a glaze. So what is a glaze? A glaze is essentially a transparent layer of paint. So this will show you what I'm doing here, be a little bit more instructive. So I'm taking, this is just my process. I like taking moisture from my wet palette sponge. This is a very well hydrated wet palette sponge. Like my palette sheet is almost sitting on a cushion of water, but not quite. So I load my brush up with water, and I pull some of the paint away from the main body of paint here, and I thin it down, add a little bit more, thin it down, add a little more, thin it down. I've got this very thin, watery bit of paint, and it should look pretty watery in my brush. Like, I have my brush reasonably loaded here, so it's pretty watery. What I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to offload a lot of this onto there, and then I'm going to grab, I'm going to offload lots of this. I'm going to grab just a little bit more, offload a touch. So if I wipe this on my nail, should be able to see some of that color just like that. So if I apply several strokes, it kind of builds the color up in translucency or in transparency. So I'm going to go over here, and I'm basically going to do a laser line coming as straight out from this as I can. Going to kind of fill the bottom of that little well, and I'm just going to leave that there. Now I'm also going to grab just a very tiny amount of slightly thin paint, and within this little glaze area that I've done, I'm just going to kind of grab a little bit and pull straight down, just to layer up the middle a bit. Having a hard, my hand is just very shaky today. I'm having a hard time doing this straight. Struggling. I'm going to go ahead and grab just a little bit of this thin color of green skin, and I'm going to fill this little well. Not completely, but all this lower section, just going to fill that. Like so. I don't want to brush too much on there, because I don't want to create texture with my brush strokes. I'm going to grab a little bit of that glaze. Going to reinforce this just a little bit more. There we go. I think that's about all I need to do right there. So it's a little bit glossy still because it's drying, but yeah. So just a tiny little light band right there. Warwolf 22, what's going on? It's going good, man. Yeah, things are good. Can't complain. I'm going to go ahead and zoom back out slightly. I'm going to move into the Goblin Green. Now I'm just going to thin this paint down. I'm going to thin it down between like a slightly thin paint to a glaze consistency, somewhere between there. And again, I'm just going to confirm like its consistency and transparency on my nail. It's pretty good. I just want to do a few strokes here to build the color. Let that dry. It appears to have dried, so I'll do another stroke, another one. Waiting for that to dry again. It seems to have dried, and I'll do one more. And one more. I go back to that color on the palette, same goblin green. Now I'm gonna kind of fill the bottom area of this little well in front of the laser diode. So zoom in slightly so you can kind of see I'm building the color there. So I'm not going to continue building too much brightness in that little well, because what I'm going to do, and by the well I mean like this little depression area right here, but eventually along this edge, like this crescent edge, I'm going to kind of create a hard highlight there, and then a hard highlight coming down into that line. And that little well I don't want to be too bright. Like there's going to be a little bright spot highlight in it, but I don't want the whole thing to be too bright. So here's where I'm going to start kind of centralizing some of the highlighting color. I'm going to use the snake scale green. It's a very, very bright green. Now I am leaving this largely opaque, as I'm just doing a couple very crisp spots. It's drying on my brush. It's a little bit hot and dry where I am today, so let's try this again. And I'll try to do like a very gentle edge highlight here. I want to drag that line down just a little further. I'm just going to rinse off this brush. Nice effect, thank you. Appreciate that. Go ahead and drop this little puck, or the post from the puck. I'm just going to zoom this out slightly. I'm going to grab just a little bit of that snake scales as well, just a little bit more, just a wee bit more, and I'm going to just kind of add it. Just a small little spot highlight inside that little well. Keeps drying on my brush very quickly. This paint is a little bit thick coming out of the bottle, thick with 3 C's. There we go, that's a little bit better. Cool. Alrighty. So you can see this brightness is building quite a bit. Now, where this is going to start to change a little bit is going to be with this next step. I'm going to grab just a little bit of white. Now, the trick with this is you want to use a very, 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 very small amount of this. You really do not want to overblow this, or else you're going to end up making this area brighter than the laser itself, which is going to totally ruin the effect. So I'm literally just going to put like the tiniest amount into this line. Just that touch. And that's about it. I'm gonna go ahead and grab just that green leaf, like the leaf green ink. Boom. This is what I normally would layer on before layering on some of that fluorescent yellow. But on that Timberwolf, I just wanted to skip straight to the fluorescent stuff. I'm not going to do the fluorescent with this. I'm just going to go ahead and add a little bit of this as a filter. I'm also going to kind of put this over the other color that's in the well, but I don't want to bring it all the way down to the front of the hand. Sorry, I'm very shaky. Just like that. So, looking straight on, kind of looking at that. Nice little glare. Boom. Hold this down a little bit lower so my autofocus doesn't struggle as much. But yeah, just like that. Pretty snazzy. I dig it. Anywho, alrighty. I just wanted to do that before we crack on with the canopy work. I think that's about good. Let's zoom back out slightly. Well, let's go away. Alrighty. Canopies. I think I know what colors we're going to do here. So I've been debating this. I would like to do two-tone. When it comes to my other Nova Cats that I painted, I've done a two-tone with like red and purple. It looks really cool. This one I think I want to do like, it's going to have red and purple, but it's going to go bright. I want the red to go kind of into the orange and even yellow range. And I also want to have the purple go up into like the pink and magenta range. Let's get to it. Papa Joe, here we go. Yo, yo, yo. I'm gonna go ahead and grab some of my purples. This is Royal Purple. Actually, I'm pretty limited in my palette when it comes to purple and pink tones. Other than literally some flesh tones, I basically just have 3 colors. But they never really fail me. So I have that Royal Purple, which is a Vallejo Model Colors color. This is Vallejo Game Air. This is Alien Purple. So this is airbrush paint. It's pretty thin. Go ahead and add that there. Go ahead and grab. This is also a Vallejo Game Air color. This is Squid Pink. It's a very bright, punchy pink. I also do have magenta, processed magenta. This is Daller and Rowney, FW ink. This camera is making this look very red, but this is a proper magenta. So there. This is going to be kind of used. Oops. Well, actually, I'm getting pretty low on the processed magenta. Might have to pick up some more. Getting more bubbles than ink coming out there. Just popping some of those bubbles. There we go. That magenta is going to go in pink. The bottom left corners are going to be focused largely with the red, orange, and yellow. Additionally, on top of all these red colors here, I'm going to grab this is orange red from Vallejo Model Color. This is going to be going on after the Evil Sunz Scarlet, because the Evil Sunz Scarlet is a good scarlet red that has a little touch of orange hue to it, so that'll go on after. And then also got Uriel Yellow. This is a Citadel color. Throw that down right there. And then the next highlight color, it's Little Home. This was Dorn Yellow. Also a Citadel color. Both these colors are pretty thin out of the bottle, as you can tell. So, go ahead and rinse my brush. So, kind of the first step here is to blend the base coats. So, I'm going to grab a good amount of the royal purple. I'm going to grab like a good amount of this chaotic red and add it into this color, and this is going to become the base coat for all of these panels. Like we've already got the black, but we're going to paint within this black, layer on this mix of dark purple and dark red. It doesn't need to be super even, but as long as it's like the 90% solution, that's kind of what you're going for. Because we're obviously going to be layering up a ton of other colors on top of this, so you don't necessarily need to have like 100% coverage on this, but like a good 85 to 90% solution. Try to move relatively quickly here because we've got a lot to get through. I reckon that these canopies will probably take us a good amount of this stream. Might take the whole thing, we'll see. So we do have 10 mechs to go through. So I think I might have to grab my glasses soon here. My eyes are starting to strain a little bit. I normally do wear my glasses. I don't know, like when I paint, I don't know why I didn't put them on before I started the stream. I guess I'm just that tired. I just forgot, you know. It says what it is. Okay. Oh, you know what? There's also this little round porthole on top of the canopy hatch, or the cockpit hatch. Go ahead and, so I filled that with black. I'm going to go ahead and fill that with some of this color as well. It's going to stipple it in so I don't hit the edges. Oh, that's good enough. Go ahead and plop that down there. Okay. The Warhawk, this thing only has 3 canopy panels. Got this massive, well, not massive, but like big, obvious one in the front here. I don't want to miss this little, like, tiny little angled panel that comes down just along the sides. This raised section. Now, you'll see I kind of got tempted there and I swiped across the top. Don't do that because this is still wet, but some of it is drying. If you do what I did there in the wrong spot, and I kind of caught myself and prevented myself from continuing to do it, but avoid that temptation to try to even out that coat as it's drying, because you're going to end up wiping some of that paint away and you're going to end up with like weird texture and it's not going to look good. So go ahead and grab just a little bit more of this paint and put it into kind of these little side panels on the cockpit. They're hard to see on the camera, but they're right here on the sides. Fill in this one as well. Kind of poking the color in there because it's a bit of a weird angle with kind of some stuff in the way over here that I don't want to end up hitting. So I just kind of find an angle that I can kind of tap my brush into most of the area on that panel. I can always come back in and like clean up around the inside edges of the panel with some black. That's not a big deal. So that's good. Grab the Nova and sip of coffee. Few drops so far. I know absolutely nothing about Battletech. Just bought a starter pack and started painting. Nice. Nighthawk 86 did exactly the same. Bought the beginner box and just went for it. Yeah, honestly, it's a good way to do it. Like, I way overanalyzed what I was gonna paint for my first miniatures. Like, I probably hummed and hawed for about 2 weeks before ordering anything. Yeah, like back in 2020 when I first started painting BattleTech. Yeah, it was, going into a blind's fun sometimes. You know, you can just pick a couple miniatures, paint them in a paint scheme, pick another couple, paint them in a paint scheme, and then figure out which ones you like, and, you know, start reading some lore and whatnot in the meantime, and figure out what factions you enjoy. And maybe you'll get inspired by a fun novel or short story or something that makes you want to paint a certain faction or unit. I'm a big fan of Draconis Combine and House Kurita, not because they're like upstanding civilians or anything like that. I mean, a lot of them are deeply flawed and kind of bad people, but I just really enjoy the lore. And I don't know, Wolves on the Border was a really good book to me. So like, it's probably my favorite BattleTech novel. I think it's probably the best, the most well-written BattleTech novel. But yeah. And because of that book, I am a massive Kurita fanboy, which is funny because I think a lot more people became fans of like Wolf's Dragoons because of that movie, or I was going to say movie, book. But I became a fan of Kurita. I liked Minobu Tetsuhara's character arc and this whole like honor code that seems to bind everybody within the DCMS to the point of fanaticism. You know, people, you know, they view the clans as super radical, but I think the DCMS is just as radical, just in different ways. All those tiny little panels on the on the fire moth. There's 5 tiny little panels, so there's one in the middle, and then there's 2 on the sides. If you don't know anything about the lore, I highly recommend checking out Big Red 40 Tech on YouTube, or Tex Talks BattleTech from like the Black Pants Legion. There's also Sven Vanderplank, like SVEN space VAN space DER space plank. I know it's like a fucking mouthful, but dude's got some unreal videos on BattleTech lore. All those guys do, but especially Sven Vanderplank. If you're looking for like the complete timeline of BattleTech, he literally has everything from the Terran Alliance to the Age of War to the Star League to the collapse of the Star League and the Exodus to all, you know, like all the succession wars, essentially. It's pretty awesome. And then Tex Talks BattleTech has like a myriad of different BattleTech videos, but he's super entertaining, like good sense of humor. He's also got some like little meme skits and stuff that he adds into the videos. It's pretty fun. Good time. Good times had by all. And then Big Red 40 Tech, just good all around lore videos. Does a lot of videos on mechs specifically, and just kind of like the lore around certain mech designs. Mechanical Frog's another good one for like if you want to watch videos specifically on the mechs and the designs and their histories and all the different quirks and stuff. The Mechanical Frog's a pretty good channel for that as well. Pardon me. Always really good channels to have on when you're just like painting. Like I always have stuff like that on in the background if I'm not streaming. Nighthawks 86, Cornholio, sorry, had to. Nice. Oh, with this guy, yeah. Yeah, definitely. Cornholio, 100%. Werewolf 22, I had the issue of not knowing what scheme to paint. A few months ago, I painted my first mech, was stuck on one style, ended up just going with what I first saw originally, was overthinking too much, went with Star League, following, I've been following Battletech since a kid, but never painted before. Star League's a good bet, like just doing olive drab, that's always a good one. I'm sure it's just this round bastard in the middle here. Just like so. Oh, big fan of the Vapor Eagle. Really like this thing. Got the old Conjurer here. Werewolf 22, yeah, I figured it's a good first step to try at least the basics. Got to post it in the Discord. Please do. Definitely do. Definitely post it in the Discord. It's my brush out. Pardon my shaky hands tonight, folks. I'm very tired and I'm trying to fight a lot of fatigue at the moment, so it just is what it is. Everyone always forgets about this little underside canopy panel on the Conjurer, but not me. No, no, no. Can't forget that one. And of course the side one. One thing that does drive me nuts about some of these designs, like it kind of makes sense to have the little side canopy panel there, because you have some space to look out, but like, why is there one on this side when it's literally completely blocked by the physical structure of the mech? Like, just get rid of that. You know what I'm saying? Design team, if you're listening to me, I know Anthony Scroggins has no care in the world for my opinion on this, but a man can scream into the abyss and hope for the best. Anywho. R3AL, I love this thing, man. Big old Zaku, kind of heavy gear vibes almost. Like, I really enjoy this thing. It's got a pretty complex canopy. Lots of little shapes around this like central nodule. Lots of little edges, kind of prismatic almost. If you look at well, I'll pull it up eventually when we go into the chat, but if you look at the other Novacat one that I have of this mech, the canopies. Kind of making sure I get up in between those like teeth. Cool. You guys good to go? Boom. That's it. That's all for that one. Ooh. Docs86, thanks for the follow. I just noticed that you followed. Making my own Merc unit, went with simple camo and experimenting with colors. Nice. I'm a big fan of camo on mechs. I hear a lot of people argue that camouflage on a big stompy robot is a silly thing, but if you figure, a lot, especially a lot of light and medium mechs can easily hide in trees and like forests, essentially, like stuff like that. And you think about undulating terrain, having camouflage is just an extra bonus, because you have like heat image, like thermal imaging and all this other stuff, but you're not just dealing with other mechs on the battlefield. And even with other mechs, you would want some kind of camouflage. Like, it just helps, it's like, especially if you have ECM that messes up sensors, or you have some like stealth armor. Having stealth armor with camouflage, dude, like, like especially at nighttime or something like that, you'll be super hard to see, or like dawn, dusk, those kinds of times. Camouflage will like just make you harder to see in general, even in one of these, especially against a background of like hills or something like that. It might be the difference between like a snapshot that comes off right away, or somebody having to like pinpoint you for an extra second or two with their crosshairs because they can't quite discern where exactly you are. Anywho, my big rambling about fictional big stompy robots over. Let's continue on with this. I'm going to go ahead and grab just a pure royal purple. Just going to kind of paint it up into that corner. It's very dark, so this is not going to be noticeable really at first. I'm going to do this with all these panels, so I'm going to do this with this one now. But I don't want to step it up to the next color yet, because the gradient will be a bit too steep. Oh, just like that. That guy's done. I'm going to try to build up some of this purple and stuff first. I think the purple and magenta color is the one we're going to focus on first, and then after we build all that up, we'll build up the red, orange, and a little bit of yellow that we're going to have. Just like so. Just kind of cover a good amount of that, and I'm just going to throw it up into the top there on both sides. Just trying to keep it consistent. Just like so. Pop that guy down there. Just a little bit more moisture and paint on my brush. Go ahead and throw up some purple in the top half here and a little bit down on the side there. Just little touches up in the corner. These little side panels are not going to receive a lot of, like, they're just going to be getting tiny little touches of paint for the most part throughout this process. And that's fine, like little touches are good enough. Like sometimes you're just looking for an indication of something. You're not looking for the actual thing to be there, just an indication. Try not to miff about too much with this this stuff. Just throw a few touches of color and move on. Especially at this stage. This is fairly early on in this process, so on this top edge here, and then filling in this little side. Same thing up here. Kind of doing like the top half of this panel here. Same thing with this one. I just realized that one's not completely filled in actually. Interesting. I'm gonna go ahead and, oops, way too much on my brush there. I'm gonna go ahead and fill this whole thing in quickly with that blended color of the crimson red, like the chaotic red, and the purple. But now I'm going to go in with just the purple in the top portion. Some casting issues on this cockpit canopy with this pouncer. It's kind of unfortunate. Just right down here, you can kind of see a little bit of casting issues. Maybe you can see it on the camera. I can see it. It's not great. So Nighthawks, you mentioned making your own Mercury. What are you calling it? So for this single round canopy panel, I'm just going to focus on the top right quadrant with this color. Kind of like the top right half, I guess. I always like to have a nice sharp point, so sometimes like I'll quickly check, and then I'll just, like, if I need to, I'll wipe off a little bit of excess, make sure I have a nice sharp point. I'm going to make sure I separate the front side of this panel from the other sides. The top and the side. And I'll come over to these ones here. So I need a little bit more on my brush. No. Cool. This is kind of a monotonous process if like just kind of when you're going through like these early stages. It's because you're hitting large areas. It doesn't take a huge amount of time per miniature, but you're just kind of doing this big batch of layering with all these colors. So once we start getting about halfway through all these colors and layers, it really starts to come together, and then it gets kind of exciting. But these early stages are always a little bit like, oh, let's get there, you know, like. Yeah. So pretty much at least once a year I watch Happy Gilmore, and watched that very recently, like the other day, just in anticipation of watching Happy Gilmore 2, which I watched yesterday with my wife. It was alright. Just need to get a little bit more purple here. You will notice that you probably noticed that I grabbed a little bit of black ink and went in there and did a little bit of corrections around the canopy on this. I just wanted to firm up some of those lines around the edge on that top canopy panel. Go down to the R3AL here, get some of that purple on there. Is there any particular reason you named it Lanarkshire Lancers? Is that named after like something local to you, or something from another setting that you enjoy? Lanarkshire, bit of a shameless self-insert based on family history. Nice. So I'm assuming that's probably like your last name, perhaps. Or maybe a location where your family lives or is from. Okay, so that's that layer done for all of them. I'm gonna go ahead and have another sip of my coffee. Sun Beetle Capri. I think this is the first time I've seen you in the chat as well. Unless I have poor memory. Correct me if I'm wrong. Timberwolf first. Okay, let's go into purple. Just want to see what this purple magenta looks like. Yeah. We're gonna go into the alien purple, which is the next color up. It's significantly brighter than the royal purple. So for this, we're not going to be doing very wide bands of color. Doing them a bit smaller. So again, I'm focusing in that top right, just like so. Go ahead and thin this down just slightly more. See if I can fill out the top just a little bit more here. Cool. I'm kind of scratching and stippling in there too. I'm going to go ahead and grab the same color and start tapping into these smaller panels. Straight on. And this guy's done. There we go. Region where my family's name shows up in historical records. Got one of those family history things with the family crest. Oh, nice. Cool, 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 cool. See, fancy, huh? Getting the top ends of these little side areas on the this canopy panel. So, and then there's also this like little smaller area right here. So I'm gonna, because it angles down slightly, I'm gonna separate the two like that. I know it's a very small area, but I think in the very end, having that very subtle difference, like where that panel kind of like steps down a little bit, you know, like that, having the different, like both of them glazed like this, it's gonna look super cool. Or both of them jeweled like this, it's gonna look super cool. But just gotta do the side panels on this dude. Crack on to the next one. Still feeling like I'm not just doing the edges, I'm doing like a small area in a lot of these. What I'm going to do for the next color is take this same alien purple. I'm going to mix it with just a touch of the squid pink and a bit of that magenta ink. And that's going to be like my primary mid-tone. And then after that, I'm going to go in with just the primary, like the squid pink on its own. And then mix some squid pink in with a little bit of white, and that'll be like the final highlight. And then we'll go on to the red, orange, and yellow. Basically just, so with this color, I'm basically just kind of filling almost the entire top half of these side panel, these tiny little side panels. Not the entire top half, but almost the entire top half. More than a third. That makes sense. See some brightness starting to build there. Mini Star, starting my gaming group on Hotspots Hinterland soon, picking up an Eris 2N for one of my starting Macs. Have you worked with that mini yet? If so, what's something to look out for? Good to do. I have not worked on the Eris yet. I've heard weird things about that miniature kit. The things that are weird about it, I do not remember. I think there's a couple spindly bits that are a little bit fragile. But yeah, that's just the nature of the beast when it comes to some of the miniatures. Some of the details are just a little bit small and fragile. But I do not remember the specifics, and I've not worked on one personally, so I would not be able to attest accurately to anything regarding that miniature. Hinterlands is a really cool system. I'm going to be doing it. I think I'm going to do like a modified version of it, I think. Whenever I do get around to gaming again. My wife and I used to play Alpha Strike frequently. We would do campaigns occasionally, a couple times a year. Usually around like the holidays when we'd be home from work at the same time for days on end. So yeah. Play that one up a little bit. I think if I do the Hinterland system though, I'm going to do it like using like the framework for Classic versus Alpha Strike isn't really that different. But I'll probably do the Classic format and play using Battletech Override rules, which is like the homebrew rule set from Death from Above Wargaming. I really enjoy that one. Keeps a lot of the flavor and cinematic feel of Classic, while getting a lot of the, you get a lot of speed from taking the amalgamations of the MechWarrior Destiny combat system, some elements of Classic and some elements of Alpha Strike. This will be my second run of Hinterlands. It's very fun and pretty slick, but it does have some editing problems. and the usual CGL clunk, but otherwise it runs great when you're in the flow of it. Nice, good to hear. What did you find didn't run as well as it could have? I'm interested to hear, because I've skimmed through like the PDF, but I haven't read it in full detail. I'm just doing that top line edge here. Do the top line edge again. But also do kind of this little very back edge area here. Do the same on the other side. Just like so. Just like so. I'll have to come back in there and clean that up with a little bit of black, but that's okay. Add just a little bit of that purple. Thin this down quite a bit. I just want to kind of blend this area back a little bit. There we go. A little bit better. Back in with that same alien purple, that brighter tone coming into the panel down here. I'm not going to go as big with this color here. Clean that up a little bit. I'm just going to clean this up right now. I kind of made a bit of a mess along this panel edge. Some black back in there. And then same thing along this one. There we go. I just wanted to clean up that right hand edge. Like you can kind of see that black edge is a lot sharper now. I kind of want to maintain that. I usually maintain like a hard black border around all my panels. But yeah, like for an active piracy contract involving a train heist, it'll give Alpha Strike movement and measuring rules, but not for classic. I see. That's annoying. Yeah, they've definitely been highly focused on Alpha Strike, and I think it's just because it seems to be drawing a lot more people in. I mean, it drew me in. Like I was always intimidated by the classic rule set. Early on, when I first started getting into painting the miniatures, Alpha Strike made it seem a lot more accessible, if that makes sense. And I think they've been seeing a lot of success with just sales of that box set, as well as just a lot more interest in Alpha Strike on forums and even at all the events too, like Gen Con and stuff like that. There's a lot more interest in the Alpha Strike stuff than the classic, it seems. I wouldn't say a lot more, but I mean a significant amount, enough that they're really paying attention and they're investing a lot more into that system. Hence why Battletech Aces, it's just designed right now for Alpha Strike. There's no caveats added right now for Classic, which I think is kind of a blunder. Like, I think they should have, like, I mean, it hasn't released yet, so I'm probably speaking out of turn here. But I really feel like it should be releasing with the ability for players to use it in Alpha Strike and Classic, and not just one game system. I know it's meant to be used with the Alpha Strike box set, but I mean, people can use it with classic rules as well. Just, I think I would hope that they will add the parameters for classic, for using it with classic, into the box sets. Aces looks really promising. Yeah, 100%. I really enjoy it. Like I got the beta test with the Kickstarter, so I tested that out with my wife, and we were very surprised to how good it was. Like we did co-op stuff against the AI cards, and it's really fun. And I thought they hadn't announced yet the plans for what Aces was going to fully entail, like how it is right now. And at the time, I remember thinking, like, man, this would be really good if they came up with like a campaign system, because it's almost like playing Mech Warrior, like the video game, like like Mech Warrior 4 or something, but on tabletop. And lo and behold, I had no idea what we were in for. I'm very happy that they went that route, and I'm really happy that they're doing multiple box sets. Like this is just going to be the first of several. I think I can't remember that they announced how many box sets they were going to do. I think it's either 5 or 7 total Aces sets. Yeah, I think 7 might be a little bit ambitious in my mind. I know that there's 7 scenarios in the pack, so maybe I'm conflating the two, but I'm fairly certain at least 5 box sets for Aces. So I just want to zoom in on this guy in particular because he has a fairly complex canopy. So right now I am focusing on the tops of these separate panels. I've kind of done a little bit of an edge highlight around the top right half of the front hexagonal panel, and then I've kind of gone on again to the tops of those other panels. Yeah, I think there's a little area here I can add in a little bit of color too as well. There's like a tiny little panel up here. Here. Got a little bit going into the recesses there. I'm going to see if I can kind of rinse that out. That's okay. I was actually able to kind of rinse that out. Go back in there with just a little bit of black. Yeah. It's very scratchy and not well refined right now, but that's because we're just kind of getting the form of everything. But this is going to be really nice. I really enjoy the complexity of this canopy. I know a lot of people hate it. I really enjoy it because you can do some really cool things with it. Sinistar, Alpha Strike has been very good for the IP indeed. I play both that and Classic, but in my groups down here in Texas, I found a lot more Classic players. Aces looks fun as hell though. Yeah, and with Aces too, I think really the only thing you would have to take into consideration is heat scaling. Like, if I remember correctly, it'll, like, some of the directions of the card will say, like, overheat your mech for its max value. I think with, like, traditionally with, like, the cards, it has some pretty clear delineation of what it wants that unit to do, the AI cards, I mean. So I think when it comes to Classic, really you just need to add the caveat of you're moving with hexes, not inches. Although I'm pretty sure most of the cards, they just give like directions like walk at max speed, or sprint to, sprint towards the enemy, or, things like that. They don't give actual measurements. So you're making those decisions on your own based on your own unit measurements. And then, yeah, I think heat scaling would just be the big one. But I mean, generally speaking, when you're doing normal attacks and you're not quote unquote alpha striking or overheating, you could just pick a set of weapons that doesn't spike you above your heatsink level when it comes to playing with classic, and then you'd be good to go. And then when it comes to overheating, overheat as much as you want, essentially. You know, you can just make those little caveats on your own. I think a lot of people fuss over that stuff a little bit too much. This guy's already done. Alrighty, we're gonna go back to the Timberwolf here. So we've gone through that alien purple. Now I'm going to add a little bit of, it's out of the way, we'll get the palette over here just a little bit. We're gonna get a little bit of this alien purple. We're gonna get a little bit of this pink, squid pink, so you can see it's just lightening up. So I've just gotten like a little bit of this, not a huge amount. It's just lightening it up, and I'm gonna grab some of this magenta and add this in, and this is gonna saturate this quite a bit more. A bit more of the paint, so I'm thinning that down a little bit excessively with the, I'm just gonna do that. How about? Make sure I mix this really well. Okay. I'm going to stick more so to this side of the palette right here. It's noticeably brighter. And here's where we're going to start doing just basically edge highlights. Whoops. Get that out of the way. And we'll zoom in slightly here. We're going to do thicker edge highlights in these panels. We're doing the edge highlights though. Try to make these as clean as possible. There will be a little bit more bold. I'm just going to add a little bit more pink to this mix. Reinforce this one a little bit here. Just added a little bit more pink to that mix. Start putting some smaller dots in the upper areas of these. Along that edge there. Okay, move on to the Warhawk. Couldn't imagine doing this on mechs like a Vindicator or Warhammer. Super thin canopy on those. Did a two-tone canopy on the Warhammer all the way around. It was hard. Worth it though. Yeah, I've done. I mean, this thing's tiny. It's got tiny little panels, and I'm doing the two-tone on this. I've done it on a couple fire moths already, actually. Basically, this exact same two-tone scheme. Got to kind of hit this little edge up here. Like so. And then we'll hit the like the corners of these side panels. Good. Still pretty dim, like these aren't very bright yet. We're just kind of building that base. Once we start adding on the next highlight color, it's going to get very, very bright. Offload some of that on my hand. Oop. Just about lost grip of my brush. Got some tiny little canopy panels right here. Fill in like little dots in the back there. Just like so. This fire moth here. It's really hard to see unless the light's hitting directly on it. Just like so. Just gonna fill this one in just a little bit more. Down on that one corner. There we go. I bet just a bit beyond me at the moment. Yeah, no worries, man. I totally get it. Two-tone canopies are a bit of an enigma for relatively new painters. And they were an enigma for me until I saw a few tutorials of it and then practiced it on my own. And there's definitely a big element of trust the process involved in it. So. I mean, it doesn't look great right now. Looks kind of like meh. Really not that nice or interesting. It's not well refined. It's really not until you kind of get like 3/4 of the way through that it's like, I see what's going on there. Know what I'm saying? Bouncer's done, about halfway through these guys with this color. And once we finish the purple and pink stuff on all these canopies, we'll take a quick break for like 15 minutes. Then we'll come back and do the rest. There. Boom. Now this color isn't much brighter than the previous layer, but this is just going to help with the transition once we add on that really punchy pink. At least I think so. So it must be right. I always dig this song. Let's go with the contour here. For some reason, this song like kind of reminds me of like when you show up to like a resort. I don't know if you've gone to Mexico, any of you folks here, but I've gone to Mexico a couple times. And I know one of the resorts I showed up to was the Now Jade. It was a nice resort, not far from Playa del Carmen, a little bit south. And they had like vacation scenes with music like this playing on the TV when we showed up to our room. Showing different things you could do on the resort and in the area. It was kind of funny. Good. Go to the yeah, we're focusing mostly on these edge highlights now. Kind of did this little edge right over here, so I'm just going to continue with that. Boom, that's good. I don't really like how that's looking. There we go, that's a little bit better. All right. Let go down, and let's get to the R3AL. This is the last one, and then we're going to move on to just the pure squid pink for the highlight. It's going to look really nice, I think, anyways. Again, so I must be right. No, I'm not that arrogant, I promise. R3AL's coming along nice. Right. Go ahead and plop that guy down. Okay. Back to the Timberwolf. Now we are going to go ahead and layer on the pure squid pink. I'm going to go ahead and mix up this squid pink on my palette because it is starting to separate into its component pigments. It's been sitting there for so long, undisturbed, needs a little bit of love. So give it a little massage. Okay. I'm going to start in this corner because that's where I want the highest concentration of pigment. It's a very thin highlight line we're trying to apply, and I want, like, normally if I was glazing, I would want where, you know, wherever I wanted the highest concentration of pigments, that's where I'd want my brush stroke to end. But here I am doing very wispy thin ends to this edge highlight, so I'm kind of lifting my brush up and away from the miniature at the very end of my brush stroke. So that's why I want to start where I want the highest concentration of pigment. That's the reasoning here. But generally, if you're not doing something like this and you're like blending or something, you want your brush stroke to start where you want the least concentration and you want it to end where you want the highest concentration. But different techniques for different methods, or different results rather. very, very thin here. And this is a thin paint, so I kind of have to apply like almost multiple layers to really get that edge highlight line to pop, which I actually kind of like because it forces me to like really refine that line and make sure it's nice and sharp. And a single brush stroke won't create like a big bold pink line. So if I don't quite get it where I need it to be, I can just redirect my brush and layer up where I actually want the color to be. So this is where it's starting to get a lot brighter. So after this color, we're going to add not quite a 50-50 mix of white ink to pink. It's going to be more like 2 parts pink, 1 part white ink, and then the very final highlight color is going to be 2 parts white ink and 1 part pink. Or sorry, 2 parts white ink, 1 part pink. They rhyme, which kind of threw me off. That's how tired I am. Pink line wasn't as sharp as I would have liked it, so I just scrubbed a little bit off. I'm just going to refine the really want. That's good there. I'm just taking a look at that little side part of this front panel. I'm going to go to, I don't know if you can see that on camera. Yeah, I think so. So right up in here. You need to fix this top edge with some black. Oh shit, that's not what I wanted. Uh-oh. That's okay. That's not the end of the world. I got like a little black line over an area of the canopy. That's okay. We're gonna fix that right now. Not to fret. The darkest color first. Next color. Oops. There. Okay. Grab a little bit of this pure squid pink, and we're going to go to this little edge right here. Just noticed a little bit of that black line was still showing, so I just went and corrected it. Trying to look at this in a weird angle, which is why I'm holding the brush in such a weird angle, such a weird way, just so I can actually see what I'm touching my brush to. one of the unfortunate things about a magnetic painting handle is sometimes I accidentally knock the miniatures right off. But in this instance, I was holding on to the miniature, so it didn't matter. A little bit of pink in that top corner there, in that side panel. Onto the Nova. Pretty good. Pronounced, and we'll place another pink dot on this side. There we go. Move on to the fire moth. This dashing looking fire moth. Good little dad joke for you. If you get it, throw a sad react in the chat. A dashing fire moth. Get it? Because it's also called a dasher. Get it? Area. Fire moth is starting to get a lot brighter on the top halves of those canopy panels. It's pretty good. The colors are going to start to get a look. They're going to start getting a bit more desaturated once we start adding the white into the mix. But they're going to get a lot brighter as they desaturate, so. Go. Focus on this top edge. It's going to look a little off-putting because only the top halves of the canopy panels are being highlighted, and they're starting to get pretty bright now. Especially once we finish it, it's going to look very weird. But once we, again, this is why I said earlier, this is kind of like a trust the process thing, because when it comes to getting to like 75 to 80% done, that's when it really starts to come together. And that means getting at least halfway through the other color to where you're starting to see those highlights start to compete. The red and the pink will, or the orange and yellow and the pink will kind of compete for primacy within the canopy panel. We're starting to define that like top edge of the that round panel. All right, onto the Conjurer. This is where we'll start, because this is kind of weird casting around this canopy. We're gonna start to define the edges here a little bit. just like so. Kind of defining that a little bit better. Go ahead and hit the other panels here. We got like that underside one. It's going to really focus on the top edge. So, and then top edge up in here. Good. Sorry, there's a little bit out of focus because of my hand there. The incubus. Almost through. See that little corner super popping now. We're gonna leave that. All right, we'll go on to the piranha and then we'll do the horned owl last. Fill out that top corner there a bit better. I do apologize, I'm a little bit quiet right now. I'm just really focusing right now so I don't mess up. Alright. Just downward on this edge, just like so. There we go. All right, this spell is done. And then the horned owl is the last one for this highlight color. And then we're gonna be on to the second last highlight. We're almost there for this, almost done for this color. I'm trying to keep these edge highlights pretty thin because there's not a lot of space to work on this canopy panel, or on these canopy panels. I'm trying to be very careful with how much I apply here. So I still do need to apply the other color tones from the other, like the other half of the colors. So I don't want to fill too much of this out. I'm gonna add a tiny little bit of a touch of color in the top right here that's not just on the edge. So, alrighty, we're gonna go on to the second last highlight color. So I'm gonna zoom out just slightly. Just gonna go ahead and make sure my white ink is ready to go. Okay, so I'm gonna grab a good old dollop of my pink. Get them out there. But you know what? Screw it. I'm gonna grab just a single drop out of the bottle. Crusties stick on there. Oops. There we go. I'm gonna go ahead and grab a good dollop of there. That brighter. Dollop. I'm just gonna use the back end of my brush just so I don't get the ferrule too. I don't get like paint up into the ferrule on my brush. I'm just slowly building this color. I want this to be too bright right off the hop here. I know this is a bit of a painstaking way to add paint, but I'm really not trying to overdo it on this yet. I want this to be a bit more brighter, a bit more desaturated. So you can see there's a noticeable difference. This is quite a bit brighter. I don't know if you can tell on the camera. That's good. That's just about to the right color. Yeah, that's perfect. Okay. Go ahead and rinse out my brush. This is a very runny consistency, but because of that, I'll be able to do very fine lines. Super fine lines. Barely even see those. Bust out my neck, but you can see those right there. Very fine lines. That's what I'm going for. I'm gonna add a bit more white to this actually. I would like this to be brighter. So it's a little bit runnier than I would like. Clean up just around this edge. There we go. Sometimes these edge highlights will look a little bit more bold than they are, but then when you go in and correct kind of where the edge of the panel is with the black, they're not as bold. And that's a little bit better. So you can see like that's thinned out a little bit. It's a much better looking corner. Cool. Go ahead and plop that down. Go back in with this really bright pink that has a lot of white added into it. I see a very sloppy kind of area here. I'm just going to go ahead and kind of erase some of this, some of that royal purple. Just like so. Thin that out a little bit. Getting it into that little corner panel. Okay, just a little touch in these corners. I'm basically just putting enough in the corner, that way I can add another tiny little dot highlight without completely covering this. And that's about all I want. Fortunately, this mix of pink and white ink is very runny, so I got to be very careful about making sure I remove as much excess as possible. It does create a few problems, because then that means a lot of this dries pretty quickly inside the brush, but it beats flooding the miniature with way too much paint or color. So for now, next one. There's these little dots, like right up in the corners. It's starting to get a lot brighter now. I want to try and refine this edge. I'll have to refine these panel edges with black as well, so that's totally fine. These don't look as neat as they could right now. They'll get tidied up. Same with this. Some of these will have to get cleaned up as well. Pretty much all of them will have to get some level of cleanup around some of these canopy panel edges with a little bit of black. And that's totally fine. That'll just help to rein in some of the sloppy work around the edges. It's not super sloppy, it's just, could be a little bit neater. And that's totally fine. Totally fine. Halfway through with this one, and then we'll be on to the very final highlight color, which is going to be awesome. Very excited for that. Guy. of a drop of water that was trying to sneak its way onto my brush. Good. On now. Second last mech. Fella's good to go. I'm going to do this horned owl, and then we'll go on to the very final highlight color for this area, the canopy. These edges as sharp as I can here. It's more in focus, sorry folks. Right. Okay. Final highlight color. This is going to be mostly white. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and suck a bit of moisture out of this, both these colors. Sometimes I do that. I just find if I've got a little bit too much moisture in a paint, I will literally just use a little bit of paper towel to wick some of that away. This is basically white with a little bit of pink. Mainly touching in that corner, and then I'm just dragging the tiniest little bit of amount of this, like almost white, down and out to the side, but really focusing on tapping into that corner first. Build up that corner highlight, pull down to the side. It's very subtle, but this punches up the brightness quite a bit. So which one of this set is your favorite so far? The horned owl, definitely. I have a sweet spot for that sculpt. Again, it reminds me of like Mobile Suit Gundam, like Zaku mobile suits. Also, like I like heavy gear. which is another mech-based combat game, and it kind of has that aesthetic a little bit to it, just with like the head with like the sensor eye kind of deal. Yeah, this guy's good to go. The Warhawk's a close second. I really like the Warhawk as well. I gotta grab my glasses here, folks. My eyes are straining super hard. Grabbed them a long time ago when I first mentioned it. Oh, this is way better already. Holy hell. My eyes don't hurt anymore. A bit of an area on this Warhawk's canopy I kind of want to correct. Thin that out a little bit. Okay. That's pretty good. It's nice and bright. This is no Zaku, boy. No Zaku. Nice. Yeah, good line. Just a single dot into the very corner on this like side panel here. There we go. Just a touch. You can kind of see that like super bright corner. That's exactly what we want. Just a little touch right in the corner. Just a wee touch. Gentle caress. Oh, there we go. Just the tip. Just the tip, baby, I promise. Go. We'll go to this one as well. Oh yeah, there we go. Looking good. It's interesting. I've noticed that the Saturday streams do not get as many viewers as the weeknight streams. And I reckon that's probably because people are doing family things or have their own things or they go out or whatever. Whereas I'm a weirdo loser who just stays in. No, not really. I have a family and this is very relaxing after busy weeks, but you know what I'm saying. Yeah, it's just interesting. Definitely more viewers on the Monday and Thursday streams. Pretty consistently, too. I'm going to quickly touch it because we're going to be moving on to the next color after I finish all of these with this color. I'm going to quickly touch up the Fire Moth canopy panels here with some black. I'm going to go in and fix this. Just like that. Nice and sharp. Oh, and the playlist repeats. Back at the beginning. Just have a little bit on the bottom and inside edge of this. Pretty good. I will come back to some of these raised areas, probably like the framing of the canopy. I'm probably gonna just re-edge highlight some of those areas. You can kind of see that bright reflection. Jesse Baldridge found your paint jobs on the Battletech Reddit and thought they were outstanding. Had to come see if I couldn't find your work on here and saw you streaming nice stuff. Awesome. Yeah, I get a lot of good engagement on Reddit. I really enjoy Reddit. I know some people have issues with Reddit, but I personally really enjoy it. So thanks for coming by. Appreciate it. Really just focusing mainly on the corner. On these side ones, I'm just going to put like mostly just a dot. A little bit of a drag along the top edge, but just a tiny bit. Fill in that corner and tiny little drag along that top edge. Now this one I'm also going to do a little bit of edge correction with some black. Just a few areas that need it. Namely along here. Along the top edge of this one. Pardon my hand positioning. That's not as nice as I would have liked it to be. That's okay. It's not a great miniature anyways, this one. It's got some casting issues. Okay. I'll probably have to redo that panel edge there up the top with the highlight color. That's okay. Good enough. That's looking pretty good. Doing some painting while watching you paint. Sunbeetle Capri. What's going on? I like doing the same thing sometimes. I really enjoy when Chris from Thunderhead Studios runs his streams because I kind of do the same thing. I just kind of lurk. I don't really chat or anything. Because at my painting desk, I don't have a keyboard, but it's too much on my brush. Yeah, I enjoy the painting streams as well. It's actually what inspired me to start my own. It's a little bright spot in that top right quadrant. That's exactly what we want. I think so. Once I finish like all the colors, top and bottom and all that good stuff, I'm probably gonna do some like glare lines coming down from the top right, but we'll save that for the very end after we get all the colors laid on. We'll see which ones could use it and which ones don't really need it. I'll clean that up with some black after. Same thing with this one. Kind of putting little dots in the corner up in this one. Let's grab some of that black, clean this up a little bit. There we go. That's perfect. Nice and sharp now. Do the same thing kind of along the side edge here. That's good. Probably along the top on this one. Down on the side. Oh, beautiful. There we go. Nice and sharp on the corner. This side on the top can be a little bit cleaned up, but the back side there is good. I snuffed out that edge highlight a little bit, but that's okay. We'll go back in with the color. Reapply. Pardon my head, I can have the corner of my eye see it poking into frame. It's a very odd corner to paint. There we go. Close enough, good enough. Okay. Drop that fella down there. Grab this. I don't know if I actually hit this with the secondary edge highlight color yet. I think I did. Doesn't look like it, but grab a little bit of white. Definitely gonna really reinforce this corner. And I'm going to reinforce this again with a little bit of black just to clean up some things. Okay, I think that's about good. I'm going to clean up down here before I apply the highlight color, just because this is pretty shoddy work right here. Okay, and a little bit right here as well. Just going to apply the tiniest little bit of this highlight into the bottom panel down here. Just like that. Apply a little bit into this corner again. Whoops. So I'll go back in and clean that up just slightly, and we'll put a little dot on this panel. I felt some of that one a little bit. That's a bit better. Black again. Fix this corner again. It's a bit of an odd one. There we go. That's better. Again, the casting's just not that great. Some of these panels aren't as well defined as they could be. So I'm having to create a little extra definition myself here. And grab this highlight color one more time and see if I can do this without having to come back in with the black. I think that's good enough. Okay, go with Brana. Try to get all the moisture out of this brush using my paper towel. Especially along this top edge, we'll reinforce a good amount right here. And a little bit down that corner. Just like so. Just gonna reinforce a little bit along this top edge, I think. There we go. I just wanted to keep that top edge as sharp as possible with that like extreme highlight color. Like it's good to go. There is like the bolder pink one, but that white, that almost white highlight that I put, I wanted that to be pretty sharp. Alrighty, so here is where we're gonna really sharpen up some of these corners and edges. We're gonna do that with the white. Gotta add a little bit more of this normal pink back in. A little bit of that purple. Looking areas on the front here. In the middle. Okay. And we'll grab a little bit of the royal purple and alien purple. Kind of fill in a little bit of that darker shaded area. I'm just trying to make the transitions here a little bit smoother. Grab a little bit of the pure royal purple, just a wee bit. Position area. And that's good for now. We'll come back in and refine that. We're going to be adding the other color anyways, so. Boom, alrighty. That is 1/2 of the canopies complete. So we've got, again, like this looks a little off-putting at the moment. Move that task lamp out of the way slightly. This is a little off-putting right now just because it's just the 1/2. But once we go ahead and get the rest painted on, it'll look pretty good. Alrighty. What time is it now? We've got, wow, 10:34? Seriously? God damn, dude. I cannot believe it's that late. Holy hell. I mean, my playlist did repeat, so I shouldn't be that shocked, but man. Wow, wow, wow. Okay, we're definitely going to take like a solid 15-minute break here. And yeah, I'm hoping we're going to get through these canopies tonight, but we might not actually get completely through them. It's taking a little bit longer than I would have thought. Crazy. Anyways, it is 10:35 right now. You know what? We're probably not going to finish this tonight. So let's hop over to chat. We'll go into the Discord. We'll look at a few things there, and we'll close out the stream for tonight. We are streaming again on Monday night, and Monday night we will finish the red, orange, and yellow half on the canopies. That is crazy. I time warped there, folks. I just got lost in the sauce painting. I cannot believe it's 10:36 already. I only really wanted to go until like 11:30 at the latest, midnight maybe, but I honestly, I don't know if we will finish all of them by midnight, so we'll just save this for the stream on Monday, which is going to be about 2 hours. We'll be able to crush that within the 2-hour period for sure. So let's hop over to chat. We'll finish out there, and we'll close out the stream. Alrighty, folks. I'm gonna pull up the Discord. I've only got a couple viewers at the moment, so that's fine. I'll pull up the Discord and take a look at a few things. Okay, let's go to the real-time painting channel, Discord window. Here we go. Alrighty. So, got a few things being posted in here. Alrighty, so yeah, Man TARDIS, since the last stream, posted this. It's got some beautiful, beautiful, it's our Regent. It's got some beautiful blue going on there. It's got a stalker with some beautiful reds going on here. Now, I'm assuming he either did just volumetric stuff using different colors of reds and blues to do this, or he did what I like doing, and probably did a zenithal undercoat using like black primer with a bit of white ink to create some highlight zones, and then applied a transparent paint over top or an ink over top through an airbrush, and then that gives you this very saturated color, just using a single color of blue but over top of that gradient of black and white, and it gives you all this beautiful shading. I do this with blue and red inks all the time. Really, really cool shit. Really enjoy this. Ram Jam. Oh, I think this is his AS350 Force, if I believe. If I'm correct, I'm pretty sure this is his Alpha Strike Wolfnet 350 Force, or Wolfnet Alpha Strike 350 Force. That's what it would be called. Damn, that is a lot of gargoyles, dude. LRM carrier for the win. Oh, nice. Dude, Corona battle armor are super spicy. They have a mech scale medium laser on them. That is insane to have as a battle armor weapon. Insane amount of damage output for a single Corona BA, much less a squad of 4 of them. Like, they're putting out more damage than a Locust or a Wasp. I mean, they're 4 Corona battle armor, and it would be 5 because it's clan. So a point of 5, they're basically putting out the same amount of damage as a Firemoth Delta config, or basically a Phoenix Hawk. They're putting out like the same amount of damage as a Phoenix Hawk. Pretty nuts. Black Wolf battle armor are just insane too. They're awesome. Super tanky, not fast, but lots of damage, pretty tanky. Big fan of those. Some gradient work on some, I don't know if he's going Starlight Defense Force or just Air Donnie Light Horse. Maybe just a Merc faction. but working on some highlight gradients. Oh, and here's that stalker with some edge highlights done on it. That's beautiful. That's 8th sort of light. It's the green dragon, jade dragon. Really, really good work for Mantardis. Mantardis is a usual on the streams. Not on tonight. Makes me sad. I like chit-chatting with him. Getting some grays on there. From Inner Sphere Tech Support. Oh, nice. Ghost Bears? I wonder. Nice. That's an adder. Double ERPPCs. Pretty slick. Old Grendel. Alright, well, that's about it from there. Miniature Painting Emporium's had a lot of stuff in it lately. Oh, nice. Two-tone windshield on the vehicle. That's from a photo by Suge, one of the other Camo Specs guys, posting in the Miniature Painting Emporium channel on the Discord. It's a summoner. Really digging this background here. I like the backdrop. I like the background too with the little VTOL, and I have a lot of these. These are it's a copy of the Riverjack vehicle from MechWarrior Mercenaries 5. It's called the Skipjack IFV, or Infantry Fighting Vehicle, on Cult 3D by Carl SZ or SZ. Very, very good shit. Not IP infringing, so you can totally use this with BattleTech and just use it as like mechanized infantry or APC, whatever you want. Pretty cool. Oh yeah, and some stuff I was working on. It's like a HQ vehicle, working on some non-metallic metal paint. So that's not metallics, just like shades of gray and some blues and a little bit of yellow added into the mix. And yeah, right there. A little bit of ground reflection on the bottom, just the gray steel on top. Yeah. Pretty yellow mechs. Cool stuff. Alrighty. Oh yeah. Marauder 2C, also from Suge. Beautiful work. Wolf's Dragoons, gotta love it. He does a lot of non-metallic metals. He does just like quick high contrast stuff. Not highly detailed on all this stuff, but looks good. Oh, nice. And Comstar Knight's Black Knight with the shield and all. Also some non-metallic metal I see on the sword. That's pretty fun. I like the sketchy look, like all the sketched in highlights and stuff. Looks good. I like the freehand too, with the laurels on either side of the Steiner fist. It's pretty awesome. Alrighty, well, I think that's all she wrote, folks. We'll close out the stream, and we'll hop into this on Monday night at 8. All the streams are going to be taking place at 8 p.m. going forwards, and they will go until I feel like it. Generally, at least 2 hours. We'll stick with that and go from there. But yeah, I think that's all for this evening, folks. Really appreciate you spending your time with me tonight. I hope you enjoyed the show. Next show, again, is going to be Monday at 8 Central. Don't miss it. We'll carry on with more work on these. We'll do the second half of all these canopies. It's a slog to go through all these canopies, just doing a big batch like this, 10 miniatures, trying to do highly detailed stuff. So we'll get through the second half in the next stream, and that will be canopies complete. So yeah. It's been another relaxing real-time painting session. I got lost in the sauce there. I literally time traveled. Thank you for spending your time in Arclight's Asylum. I hope to see you next time. Have a good night, folks.